G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza and I'm here with James of James Lee Animation. He's an insanely talented animator. Before we jump into the interview and behind the scenes and looking at more of his work, I want to point you guys in the direction of the cartoon he just released, which is called OVERWATCH NOIR?
Yeah, OVERWATCH NOIR.
Go check it out. The link is in the first line of the description, and please watch it before you watch this interview, because trust me, this is all going to make a lot more sense and be a lot more exciting and impressive once you've seen the incredible piece. It's not even that long, it's a couple of minutes long, but it's just a phenomenal piece of animated content that we're going to talk about today. Very small content warning, there's a little bit of adult theme and a little bit of violence, but that out of the way. If you're a mature person, not that it sounds, I make it sound like it's a porn. It's not a porn, I swear to God.
It's a bit violent, it's a bit kinky, cool stuff.
We had it all, every moment was painted in gold. We were made, and the world was ours.
Today I'm going to be interviewing James. We're going to be digging into your process as an animator, learning about how you became an animator, how you craft your stories, and how you build these incredible shots. So let's get stuck into it. Let's talk a little bit about how you became an animator and how your unique style has become what it is, because it is quite recognizable. Like, it's a very
it's a bit of a hard question to answer, because I've always been interested in drawing. So ever since I was a little kid, from high school, I studied animation in Brisbane.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it was while you were studying, that's when you made Tarboy.
Yes, that was my honours project.
Out of nowhere, on the Flash animation scene, this cartoon came out that was like, everyone was turning their heads and saying like, this stuff is possible? Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially for me at the time, like there were these landmark moments of content for Flash animation back in the day where people were like, holy crap, look what people can do. Adam Phillips was one, I think, you know. Man, Australians represent. It's awesome, man. But Tarboy was absolutely another one of those things where it was just like this really caricatured, sharp, pretty style with such cool effects and intense cinematography for a Flash cartoon of the time, and it was an instant classic.
Yeah, it was an interesting time, I think, because it was like a Flash animation, and it's weird how that label existed back then. You had films and then you had Flash animations. Back then, I think I had a slight edge because there wasn't a lot of people from a university animation background. A lot of the people who were doing animation at that time were, I guess, hobbyists mostly, or people who just did it for fun. I think there are a few people that saw that there's just so much that could be done in Flash, and the fact that I could do a film at university and have 8 months to spend on it and not have to worry about anything else is a huge opportunity to make something and to really polish it and really refine it. You can have an edge putting something out if you put a lot of work and a lot of time into it, especially if that platform is saturated already with stuff that is made in a week or 2 weeks or a month. If you can put 3 or 4 months or 5 months or 6 months into something, a lot of people don't do that.
So let's talk a little bit about your process, right? Because you've made this gorgeous thing, like it's amazing. The first 3 shots, you're like, I am watching this start to finish, and then I'm watching it again, guaranteed. Like, that is the first thing that comes to mind every time I see it. There's this really cinematic impact you have with your work. So let's go from the beginning of the conceptualization, and then let's work our way through to the really meaty practical stuff, how you made it look the way it did, step by step, you know, in those scenes.
I was just digging through some music libraries and I came across the track, and I just really loved the track. It just has a cool cinematic film noir style.
Where did it all go wrong? Didn't we have it all? Now it's all gone.
Music is just such a big inspiration for me, because you listen to a piece of music and the mood and the tone and the pacing is already set before you've even put pencil to paper. And for animation, it's such a slow process that those 3 things take so much time to establish. So if you can have a music track, you know what tone this is going to be just hearing the music. I was playing a lot of Overwatch at that time. So Overwatch was the first thing in a while that I was kind of really absorbed into, and I thought, man, this would be a great opportunity to make something based on this, because I know there's an audience that is just there. Like if I could make something for it. And the first image that came to my head was Tracer with the bullet hole through her head.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was a pretty cool image because Tracer almost seems invulnerable in a way because she can just reverse time and get the hell out of there, but she's been shot through the head, so how's she going to get out of this situation? So it has that intriguing aspect to it. I start off with the idea formulation, which is a bit kind of nebulous and all over the place, and I solidify that by putting it into either a thumbnail board or an animatic, which is very raw and it's just for the thinking process. Then from that, I'll usually go on to like a second phase animatic where I begin to build the structure of the shot and the composition and timing and things like that. I use Adobe Animate to do the animatic because I feel that Animate is it's almost like the Swiss Army knife of animation programs, I think. It doesn't tend to do one thing excellently, but it does a lot of things pretty good. So it's quick, it's fast, you can lay down the art super quick, and for animatics it's perfect. And then only when that is completely locked off, I'll move on to animation. Animation and background is all part of the production process. So I'd go from animate to the animatic. Animation in Toon Boom Harmony. Toon Boom Harmony is great for all the advanced animation stuff, but it's pretty slow. It takes a long time to set up, so it's good for a big project like this. Then I output that into After Effects. That's where I add all the sparkly stuff. You take the raw animation and you apply all these kind of subtle layers of glossiness and filtration and blurring and lighting effects. It's the compositing work and the finishing and the filters. When that's done, we go into editing. And the thing about animation is it's already more or less pre-edited in the animatic phase. You're just slicing things, making very small adjustments, then final output and rendering.
So now let's jump into like the meat of how you build the scenes, right?
Yes.
People think of animation as animating. I animated the character, I did a background, the end, I'm done, right? So we've talked a lot about like the fact that you did a lot of planning, you needed the concept, then you have the animation, and then you have this whole after chunk. The way you layer your effects in post-production and your filters transforms what could be a flatter animation into just something that's just got real punch. What are the major things that you use to anchor those punches?
All right. Well, the way I try to think about compositing is it's like I'm painting it, but I'm not trying to think of it in too much of an illustrated style. I wanted it to be in a cinematic style. So somewhere in the realm of being a bit closer to live action film, trying to emulate lens effects and the way light will hit a camera, or things like camera shake and fog, and there's one effect in particular which I just love called chromatic aberration. If you're using a cheap photographic lens, around the very edges the light will begin to separate, so I have a very fine outline of either blue or red along the edges, and it's something that you really don't notice, but when it's on something it just adds a feeling of reality to it. Some effects will be very like bold, like a color correction filter will it'll change all the orange to blue. That's like a very big, bold effect. But for the most part, all the stuff I'm adding will be like, say, line treatment. It's just one thing you can just do to just make it look 5% better in 2 seconds. Just soften the lines just a tiny little bit. One very simple one is just add a gradient ramp over the entire screen, and from a light color to a dark color, switch it to overlay, drag the opacity right down, and it's a bit of a cheat method, but it just adds just a little bit more vibrancy and a bit more life to the colors. If it's a rainy shot, I might do my line treatment, but I'll blur it even more and bring up the opacity. And what that does is it gives like a very foggy effect over the lens, and it kind of, in a way, simulates like humidity, like the moisture in the air.
You're thinking of your shots in terms of the subtleties of actual location shooting. The gleams, I think, that you do are just incredible. Like these hot, like, flares on reflections and things like that. That gives a shape and tangibility to the things that we're seeing, that we're just you don't see it in quickly produced animation.
It can be very easy to fall into the trap of trying to make everything quite clear and crisp. Sometimes it can be useful to make things not clear, so it can be either washed out or blurred, or along the edge, especially along the edges, like just adding a nice shadow around the sides can draw the eye into the center of the frame. Even things like putting a shadow over a character's face, like, because when you think about the eyes and the mouth, it's such an expressive,
Yeah.
we're used to seeing all this expression, and then when they're hidden, it's hidden and masked and not as clear, it gives a very different effect.
Hearing you say that, it's like, yes, it's so true. Like, you watch film, that's what happens. Stuff is masked, there are flaws, there are, you know, not everything is shown. And yet the temptation with animation that a lot of people fall into, including myself, is you spend so much time crafting this, drawing this character, creating this environment, making this scene, that you have to show it all, right? Because otherwise it's wasting your time. But what you're saying is it serves the delivery even more to take it that step further.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you watch a lot of anime and you see their step-by-step process and you see anime before it has all these filters, it looks like web animation. Like it's got that very crisp outline, it looks very flat, and I think the Japanese are very good at pulling as much out of it as they can. So this is where I learned a lot of these techniques, was watching anime, and very often I'll have just this massive shadow like over the lens, or a light leak that completely bleeds out the frame, or all these different little tiny effects.
It's really cool to see your style hit this really cool middle ground where you have this whimsy about your style that treats your audience with respect. You know what I mean? Like, you can be whimsical without needing to be kid-friendly, and you can have that charm without needing to be illustrated. You can be cinematic and punchy, but just have a unique style, which is awesome. This guy is insanely talented and hugely creative. And YouTube is a place where there's a lot happening in the realm of the Jake Paulers and the bros of PewDiePie. And look, there's places for everything, and that's great that exists for a lot of people. But at the same time, what a treat it is to have craftspeople like yourself contributing such amazing pieces to YouTube like this. It's amazing. So everyone, go check it out. The link again is in the first line of the description, and you'll find in the second line of the description is a link to his newly started Patreon. So those of you who have seen his former work and seen this work, please go check it out and consider becoming a patron, because it's support like that that make high-tier productions like this possible on YouTube in the long term. And I think that's what a lot of us want to see more of. So you've got a backer here. Hopefully you have a few here, but thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much for making that amazing animation. It's absolutely, like, it is phenomenal.
Oh, thanks for having me on your channel, and thanks to all you guys for watching. And I hope this isn't the last time.
Do you want to do the sign-off?
Sign off.
What's the leave me here, look at the camera and say, thanks. I'm going to say thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, see you later.
Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, see you later.
That was really good.
Sweet.
I'm proud of you.
Cool.
Make sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos. And while you're at it, check out my shop where I sell ebooks, brushes, photo references, video courses, and more. There's another video you might enjoy from my channel over there, and you can also check out my behind-the-scenes daily vlog channel, Daily Jazza. That's it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later.